with you having WCW guys and WWE guys and your own students at the time, how was that a mixture of everybody involved?
Well, I had a style, and
Hmm.
well, everybody has been trained by somebody different in that whole crew, right? I mean, I
Hmm.
trained a group of these guys, but probably everybody else, even the guys from WWE or the guys from WCW, had started some ways somewhere else opposed to WCW or WWE, right?
Hmm.
So it was a mishmash of different, you know. So we developed our own. Well, some of the drills. I have a thing called a 555 that is run by. Well, it's used at the PC WWE's Performance Center. I've seen it on their videos and stuff. But we have, we have. I developed some new routines and stuff. Guys call them blow up drills, and they are. But they got, well, let's talk about that for a minute. Blow up drills. Why is everybody run blow up drills? Or why should everybody run blow up drills? Because in the pursuit of having a great professional wrestling match, your oxygen that you take in is one of the most important things. Because if you start to lose your oxygen. You can't, you blow yourself up. The brain works on that same oxygen, and
Hmm.
it's not working well either. How do I know that? Because I have been there, done that, right? I've had that happen to me as a young wrestler. So it's important that you get that oxygen, that you can think, because toward the end of that match, when you're trying to put that great finish together, is when you need to know that A comes before C and B, right, and so forth and so on. And so yeah, it's oxygen. It's important fuel. Your brain functions on it. That's the end of it right there. And if your brain's not getting enough of it, well, you probably maybe running with a buddy of yours, and he's still running, and you're sucking wind and thinking, "Oh my God!" Right?
Yeah.
Trying to think and not doing a good job of it. Right? It's the same thing.
Hmm.
Wrestling is the same thing. There's different styles, but in our, we would work a spot, go back to like we build it. I have worked in matches where I've used one hold or used other holds to transition back to that one hold, and my opponent used one hold, and one of us get a finish off of that particular hold, right? You
Hmm.
don't see a lot of that anymore, and there's no reason that you don't, except it's a different time. And Wednesday comes after Tuesday, and Thursday comes after Wednesday, and you know that's a
Hmm.
different time too, a different day. That's the craziest thing is the quarterback for the Colts, who just 44 years old, just coming out of retirement, hadn't played in 5 years. He's he's playing within his realm and doing a damn good job. Now
Hmm.
he's not trying to be one of these young quarterbacks who's 20 years younger than him, right? That's smart business. So it's you you can watch somebody do something and think that's so cool. I want to do it. Do it in a training session. See how cool you look doing it, because there's a good chance you don't look cool at all, right? But it's best that you see that yourself opposed to doing it in front of a few thousand people and they see that you don't look cool doing it, right?
Oh yeah.
Practice, one of the things that I preach in training, uh, train the way you work, train the same way you work with the same snap, the same intensity, the same, you know, get used to it. One of the things I think we're missing right now, a lot of, because I'm not sure. I started to say because of why, but I'm not real sure why. But details, facial expressions, body language, those are things that help tell a story as well.
Hmm.
And yet I see, a lot of the guys don't pay attention to that. We paid attention back when I broke in 66 plus years ago. because you had to, because you were selling the product as a shoot, as real.
Hmm.
Now, I think a lot of the guys today, I won't say a bunch of them or all of them, but some of these guys take the stance everybody's smart, which is not smart for you to say if you believe that. Because you watch pro football, right? I watch pro
Hmm.
football. I've been watching it a lot longer than you because I'm a lot older than you. So I can say, well, hell, I understand pro football. No, I don't. I'm not in that puddle, right? I hear what the announcers are saying. I hear what see what's going on the screen, but that doesn't mean I can go out and be a hey, Les, you want to be a head coach of a pro football team? No, I don't. Not if I got any brains, because and it's like we were talking a while back about two of the current promoters who weren't wrestlers, and it's obvious that they weren't. Now, that's not to say they haven't done a good show or don't ever do a good show, but you can just tell
Hmm.
they they were fans, right? But that's we all started there. We
Hmm.
all had a narrow or shallow, I should say, view of what professional wrestling was. But after 66 years, my view has gotten a lot deeper
Hmm.
and deeper and deeper, right? And I still learn. Tom Pritchard and I were having this conversation just the other night about that. It's not an easy business to learn properly,
Hmm.
right? And again, we were talking about it on another session about all the schools that are out there, and half these schools don't have anybody that actually knows how to train you, right? But they're trainers anyway. They flipped a coin, and this guy decided he is going to be the trainer.
Well,
But
unfortunately.
yes, unfortunately for all of us, you're right. No, well, that's the thing. When going back to when Harley Race and Ricky Steamboat and I started doing the elite pro wrestling training, what we called super camps, like 3 day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday deals. And you're watching these guys, and you'll say to a guy, "How long have you been working?" I've been working 5 years. And then you'll see him get in the ring, and Harley would say, "Did he say 5 days or 5 years?" Meaning he don't look like he's been working 5 days to me, right? Who trained you? Bill Smith. Who's Bill Smith? Right? He comes back to remember me telling you a story about, well, I was trained by one of the original assassins. Was it Tom or Jody? No, his name was Bill. Well, it wasn't one of the original assassins. It's
Hmm.
sometimes the biggest work comes at how these guys who are supposed to be trainers are working their talent. The guys that spend the money. You know, I don't know what a top trainer gets for a long period of sessions with him. I don't know. I haven't checked in recent years. When I started training guys, I got $1,500 for 6 months. When I stopped and sold HWA, I was getting $4,000 for 6 months. And today would be more than that. But then I'm going to that's the thing too. You're paying for, I've been doing this 66 years, not 66 minutes or 66 months, 66 years. And, you know, it, that's got to be worth something, right? So it's kind of like going out. If you can't buy a Cadillac for the price of a Chevrolet, and if you can, better raise the hood and be sure there's a motor in there, because there may not be one, or it's got tires on it, right? So
Uh-huh.
yeah, if a guy's, oh, he just charged us $5 a session, be careful what you're not learning at $5 a session. You're just not. It's
Hmm.
it's it's a terrible thing to say, but there are a lot of con men out there that'll take advantage of young guys. You
Hmm.
know, so be extremely careful.
Was there any animosity between any of the talent? Like, did the WWE guys think that the WCW guys shouldn't have been there? Or how was that, like, that environment? Because you had
Yeah,
to
well,
been
yeah,
like a
there's
dad.
always going to be like competitions, or somebody didn't get, uh, and especially coming from the WCW guys coming in on the heels of being bought out. by
Hmm.
WWE, right? So they're feeling like second-rate citizens a little bit anyway. And like I
Hmm.
said, some of them are saying, "Well, what are we doing here? We're major players." Well, not now. You're not.
Hmm.
Now you prove to the new boss that you're a major player, not to me. You got to prove it. They want to see it on tape that you're a major player. But yeah, so yeah, and you know what? When you put that many guys with that much testosterone in the same
Hmm.
room, and everybody wants to be the head, the big dog. Everybody wants to be the man. You're going to have guys butting heads. It's as natural as the day is long, right? You just
Hmm.
got to try to keep it down to a mild roar, right? And if
Hmm.
it gets out of hand, then you jump and you get loud and you say, okay, that's enough. We're not going to have that here. We're not going to have it. That's important too. That's another thing too, is people say, well, what if you lose every night? Well, at some point, that's the other thing too. There's losing, and then there's losing, and then there's more losing. But it's not necessarily. You remember recent months, the match that Randy Orton had with Cody.
Hmm.
Okay, and Randy put on a master class in how to sell without dying and without, people still know you're in the game.
Yep.
You remember the match, right?
Yep. Hmm.
How many guys you think could do what Randy Orton just did in that match?
Not a lot. People like Randy were trained from a different generation, and they know how to tell a story. And I've always been particular for people that like Randy Orton who know what the hell they're doing.
No, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. You are, and that again, it goes back to the trainer had to experience that himself to be able to teach it to you, right?
Hmm.
Dr. Tom and I have had the conversation, I don't know how many times through the years, saying we teach some things that were never actually taught to us. We were expected to know them, right?
Hmm.
And there were, uh, like respect for the veterans. Nobody ever told me respect the veterans. I just knew that nasty looking guy over there in the corner that's staring holes through me needed my respect, right? So I could save my ass, right? But no, but things like that. And today, there's times you want to grab a guy by the collar and say, "Hey, dummy, that guy was here before your mother and father got together, so you will give him respect. I don't care, what you think. You will treat him with respect, right?
Hmm.
It shouldn't have to be done, but then that's a whole nother class of people as well, right?
Hmm.
Uh, the younger generation today, people talk about they're entitled. What are they entitled to?
Yeah.
Entitled to getting older? We're all entitled to that, right? So it's and that's the other thing too. To be a coach, you got to deal with all these different personalities, and you got to deal with them all separately at times, or all collectively at times, right? So
Hmm.
when you say you're a bad guy, you don't want to be sure you're not pointing at the wrong guy here, right? It's tough. I mean, it truly is. I never, like I say, when Bob Harmon called me and said these guys need somebody to train them, and I said, well, why are you telling me? Well, because you're going to be the trainer. I never considered that. But then looking back at that, Terry Taylor, who's one of the trainers at the PC, right, has been for years. Okay, uh, he pulled my coattail when Mulligan, Flair, and Crockett bought this territory at Knoxville, where I'm living now. And he came in as one of the green kids, and he and I still joke about it. I took a bunch of those young guys down to the Coliseum on Friday afternoon, right, to work out. The first time I locked up with Terry, I jumped back and said, "My God, son, did anybody ever tell you this is a work yet?" I said, "I've been in street fights easier than locking up with you, right?" Uh, you know, and things like that. But yeah, so and J.J. Dillon and Scott Casey all make reference to me about having learned something from me. Scott, when Scott started with the Funks in Amarillo, and then they sent him to Tampa for another learning process. He came into the Carolinas, which, even though George Scott was the booker at the time, was still a big tag team territory, right? And George gave it to me and said, teach this kid how to tag wrestle because it's a different flow, than a singles match. So there's so much to learn. And it's not, realize if you and I are going to have a movie fight, we may take the whole day, the whole morning, say start 8 a.m. and go to lunch and
Mm-hmm.
not have it film, right? Because they're going to do it. I don't like that take. Let's do another take here on this and that. Can't do that with the wrestling match.
Mm-hmm.
Great. This is a great story of that particular thing going way back that I started to say Cody, but Cody wasn't even in the business at the time. Dustin had a was an back alley match
Mm-hmm.
with who was it? Roddy
Piper.
Piper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Okay. One of the photographers for WWE was telling me the story. He was there filming, right? And there were, some of the people who worked and some actors and stuntmen and stuff around watching. And he said that Dustin and Roddy pulled up in their vehicles. They got out, talked about 10 minutes. They went and parked their cars and went and started doing their thing. They got it in, did it, shook hands, and went home. And one of the guys said to him, he said, I just can't believe that. And the photographer said, what do you mean? He said, well, I'm a stunt guy that I do fight scenes and stuff, right? He said, these guys talked for 10 minutes. They went and did it. Now they're leaving. We would have broke for lunch and gone back and finished this in the afternoon. It would have taken us probably the whole day, maybe or a good portion of the day to do that fight film, that
Mm-hmm.
fight, which took them less than half an hour to do the whole damn thing. So
Mm-hmm.
realize improv is an important part of wrestling match. You have to know how to insert something that nobody told you to insert when
Mm-hmm.
you see a place for it. And that's, you can't teach that. You cannot teach that. You can't, you know,
No. Mm-hmm.
it's, you got to know, because mistakes happen. One of the things I think is that creates that everybody knowing in the back what's going to be move for move. It creates big pregnant pauses. How many times have you seen a guy standing bent at the waist with looking out of the corner of his eye, waiting for that guy to climb that top rope
Mm-hmm.
to jump on him? What the hell is he standing there like that for? I mean, I'm saying do something, man.
Mm-hmm.
You got you timing. It's a timing issue. But it's the next move. It's what we talked about. Well, maybe it's not the next move, right?
Mm-hmm.
Realize that, especially the world champion is going to go. The old NWA world champion is going to probably go an hour. If he has 4 matches this week, he's going to go at least 4 hours because he's going to work with somebody he's never worked with before.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got to make that guy look good, and he's got to look good and make that guy look like maybe he's about to win the world title, right?
Mm-hmm.
That takes a lot of doing with somebody and realize back in our day, we weren't even in the same dressing room, maybe not on the same side of the building,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
The referee comes in and said, okay, Les, so and so said he'll take the first fall with this. What do you want to take the second fall with? It's back and. But the point is, well, people. I was one of the first guys to wrestle Ric Flair when he came into the Carolinas back 100 years ago. And people say, how, I said, all I knew is I was wrestling with a new guy. And we came to the middle of the ring. The referee gave us instructions, and he said, "Are you going to call it?" And I said, well, "Yeah, I'll call part of it. We'll see what's going on." We'd never met before. We went out there and had a match, and we never talked. It was all the talking was done during the match, which
Yep.
is an art in the to
Oh
itself.
yeah. Hmm. I agree.
And many of the things that were arts back in my day aren't an art form any longer because, well, here's the thing. I've seen on AEW several times a guy with a sawing on his head with it. It's like, what the hell are you guys doing? And I asked one of the uh, producers at them, well, that the guy who produced that segment forgot to tell the director to cut away. Went, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. That's not the art. There's not the art to that.
No.
Cut away so I can. But he's still cutting his forehead in front of how many thousands of people who can
Hmm.
go home and tell people, right?
Hmm.
We never had that option, right? We didn't have a producer. A lot of times we were doing a house show, to get our heat and need to get blood. You gauged how well you got it by when you got to the dressing room. The guys in your dressing room knew that you were going to do it, and if they said we didn't see you, then good. Now you know you've done the right. You did the right thing.
Hmm.
But to say, well, the producer, come on, for drop, please stop. You know, there's a lot more to this art, and
Oh yeah.
it's fading. And
Hmm.
when I say that, it's not about old school and new school. It's just about what makes this a better show,
Hmm.
and doing it to make it like make people believe it makes it a better show. It makes it a better show today when some kid is going to say, everybody's smart, and I'm going to say you're not real smart for saying that because no,
Yeah.
you know you could, well, this goofy stuff with Cena's last match and he tapped. My God, you would have thought he'd got caught with a 14-year-old girl or something, right?
Hmm.
Oh, the world is up in arms. And I'm laughing. I'm thinking, wait a minute. Everybody's smart. You know this is a work. What the
Hmm.
hell are you so upset about? Right?
Yeah.
Because well, let's look at it real quick. Let's look at it this way, Brian. A good movie or a good dramatic TV series, the actors become the character they're playing. They draw you in that way. There may be a touch of comedic stuff here, but it's basically serious. But it doesn't hurt to add a bit of comedic timing in that hour show or that hour 90 minute or 2 hour, whatever it happens to be. But it's quality writing, quality actors, and a good storyline that draws you in. If you've been watching Law and Order as many years as I have, it's not a shoot, don't you, Brian?
Yeah.
Me too, but it's a good show. Why? Because it gives me an hour not to think about anything, just to get in who killed that woman or who raped that man or whatever. Right? It's the same thing with our business.
Hmm.
Everybody's smart. Well, damn, we're all smart about movies too, man. And I read the Jack Reacher series by you know damn it, I'm having one of my senior moments with the author here. But anyway, the point is that book draws me in too and tells me a story, and I can forget about my problems and what's going on during the day while I'm reading. It's
Hmm.
all it's about.
Yeah.
You don't have to make the people go home. They got to go out the door thinking, is Brian okay? I want to be sure.
Hmm.
No, seriously, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's part of it, and I think we need to go back and address that. You
Yeah.
know, and
Oh
the
yeah.
thing that is something that Regal has been talking about, and is like the injuries, the neck injuries, and everything. These some of these guys are doing this bumps. I'm telling you, I know tough guys back in my day. If you told him you were going to give him that bump, he said, "Give it your best try, man, but I don't think you're going to make it." Right? All
Yeah.
right, I'm going to tell you a little story here. How many times do you see guys drop kicking somebody in the corner? You see it all the time, don't
Mm-hmm.
you? Okay. I've had guys that I know could kick my butt, right? Tell me, don't drop kick me in the corner. Why? You know why?
Mm-mm. I did not.
Well, because you got to absorb that. You got to absorb those feet coming at you
Mm-hmm.
because you can't go down. Part of the art of this business is making you believe that I took the full force of that drop kick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I'm in that corner, I am going to take the full force, whether I want to or I don't. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The guys were, even the tough guys were concerned with them hurting you or you hurting them by accident. Right? And
Mm-hmm.
now it's like, we got to do this because it makes me macho. Well, good. I'm happy that you're macho. I'm not so happy that I broke my arm or broke my neck or
Mm-hmm.
right or ruptured this or that or the other thing. It gets crazy. It gets completely insane. And like I say, uh, I've wrestled Harley Race, I've wrestled Pat O'Connor, I've wrestled Danny Hodge. You know what? Those three guys right there, there's no doubt in my mind, all three of them individually could whip my ass. I never felt it. I mean, it was like working with somebody that loved you, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the old guys used to say, "Hey, kid, I can't feel it. Those people can't feel a thing. Relax. Right? Don't throw that punch so damn stiff. Those people can't feel anything, you know, out
Mm-hmm.
there." But that's the facts of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's changed a bunch, not necessarily for the better, for more excitement or whatever. But when people say, well, everybody's smart, they just got all upset because John Cena tapped out his last match. How smart can they be?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If it's like any good movie. Don't have to be a wrestling movie. It can be any kind of movie. You're not, you remember the old Dallas TV series? No, you're not old.
I know of it.
Larry Hageman, J.R. Ewing, was
Mm-hmm.
a great friggin' heel. I mean, he was a great heel. And you know what? Guys in our business said, I hope that son of a bitch gets him. I hope they kill that bastard next week, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
want to think, but he was making us believers, right? It can be done. All you got to do is try.
Yeah.
All you got to do is and not do 16,000 things that make no friggin' sense whatsoever. That's part of the bit. But teaching that,
Mm-hmm.
there's the problem, right? Teaching good sound basics is harder today because you don't see a lot of good sound basics. When I say I'm going to teach you a top wrist lock, Brian, what's a top wrist lock, Les? Wait a minute. Oh, that's right. I haven't seen one in a while either, Brian. So there's no reason for you to really know what a top wrist lock is, or a
Mm-hmm.
hammer lock, or any damn thing else. They don't use a lot of holes anymore.
Mm-mm. Nope.
Why? I don't know.
I don't either. Not a clue.
But the match we were just talking about, uh, the match with Cody
Mm-hmm.
and Gordon, right? That was close to being an old school match. Nobody dove out of the ring onto anybody else. They basically it was a ground game, but the
Mm-hmm.
people were into it. If and when I hear a kid say they don't buy that anymore, I said they buy it if you know how to sell it.
Yeah,
They
that's true.
they buy anything if you know how to sell it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the key. That is truly the key. And it's the guys. Somebody said to me, a fan said this to me a few weeks ago about Cody was being pretty hokey when he was being mad the other night. And I thought, damn, you're right. I remember sitting here watching, and this is he was I forget who maybe it was with McIntyre. I don't know. He was mad at somebody, but that somebody wasn't there, right? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking you're overdoing it Because why? And you're pushing the point to the point of being almost ridiculous, right? And
Yep.
Cody's a hell of a worker. Listen, he's one of the better of the current crop. He truly is. But yeah, it's like I say, things change sometimes, not because they have to, but because somebody said they should,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
If,
unfortunately.
if, if you are a guy with pull in this business, if you are a name value and you go out and do some completely stupid, off the wall, nonsensical thing, and I say, well, Brian says that's a good move. Tomorrow, somebody else is going to do it. And the day after that, somebody else is going to do it. And then pretty soon, hey, that's a cool move, even if it's
Hmm.
not, because Brian said it was.
Yep.
And
Was it?
I mean, and the sad thing about that is that too many of the young guys listen to another young guy telling them what somebody that he's never heard of before, but the guy looks old, so he must have been around a while, right? It's crazy. I mean, it truly is. The best thing, you sit down, and everybody should ask what a veteran what they think of your match, and expect it to be torn to pieces,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
I've had I remember Ric Flair saying to me, I don't know how many years ago, these kids will ask me what I think of their match, and then when I tell them, they pout. I said, well, they want you to tell them how great you think they are, but I didn't. I know.
Hmm.
And you know what? If I go to an indie show now, I try my best not to go in the dressing room because somebody's going to say, "What did you think? What do you think?" And if
Hmm.
you don't want to know, you shouldn't ask. And there's a good chance I'm going to tell you I wasn't real thrilled with that match. I thought it was, but again, you're asking somebody who's been can do this in their sleep virtually and has been doing it longer than you've been alive.
Yeah.
So, it's
We
it's a crazy world we live in.
we live in sensitive times.
Yes, we do. And if young wrestlers are sensitive as hell. They truly are. And we all, but that's, let's face it, we're all running around in our underwear looking for somebody to praise us. Either you got a great body or you took a great bump or you did something great, right? We're
Hmm.
looking for attention. And then when we get it, that's not the kind of attention I wanted. Yeah, it is because that's what you did exactly what you shouldn't have, you know.
Hmm. Yeah.
And well, the thing about necks, about guys hurting their necks, right? Harley Race used to say, if we could turn the clock back, I'd never do another diving headbutt off the top.
Hmm.
I told Benoit the same thing that Harley told me, and Chris went right back to doing the same damn thing. I said, "Are you crazy?" I saw the Dragon, Brian Danielson doing it.
Hmm.
Guys, the the end result is going to be the same.
Hmm.
But Dr. Tom and I were saying it's just with these kids, you can't tell them that. No, it's not. It's not going to be the same. Yes, it is going to be the same. We didn't do half the crazy stunts that you people do, and
Hmm.
yet, you know, I've got all my body parts belong to me, but my hips don't take long walks anymore, or at least not with the rest of my body anyway.
Hmm.
And I mean, this elbow has got arthritis and bursitis, along with God knows whatever else on. No, and we weren't doing those kind of bumps. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, you guys are shooting for a wheelchair by the time you're my age, for sure.
Hmm.
And there's no need for it. There's no need for that. It's not how many bumps did you take. It's taking the right bump at the right time to get the right result. That's the that's the bottom line, not because Steve said so, but because it just is the bottom line.
I agree. It says that we have 4 minutes left.
We do, huh?
Yeah.
On
So,
this session.
yeah. Now I've got to take my oldest to get his hair cut. Is there a different day this week or? next week
How
or
about
what?
tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm off tomorrow.
Well, of course you are. You're not going to get drunk tonight, are
No.
you? You had to stop and think about it, but no. Well, I'm sure as hell not going to. Not after the stroke. There would be no getting drunks tonight for me. But
You want
yeah, we'll
me? Okay.
convene again tomorrow.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. You'll have some good questions.
Yes, sir.
I, I hope I'll have some good answers. That's
You always do.
oh, I don't know about that, but anyway, it's been I'm enjoying this, and I hope somebody's
Yeah,
benefiting.
I
So,
am as well. You want
well,
me to
I
just
would
reach out to the morning in the morning to you?
do what?
You want me to just reach out in the morning, see how your day's looking?
You can check
Okay.
in with me earlier, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that I know I'm not going to out and get drunk crazy out of my mind tonight. That's for sure. I'm a few days past that age.
Yeah. Well,
But
then
yeah,
I hope you have a good New Year's, and then I will reach out to you in the morning, sir.
good man. Happy New Year to you as well, and be no bleary eyes and bloodshot
No.
tomorrow. Right? All right. Good. Look forward to it. Ron.
Thank you, Les.
Thank you.